Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I thought I'd share my process of how I 3D resin print doll accessories. By no means am I saying that this is the way to do it, because honestly I'm sure that there are things that I'm probably not doing correct or in the easiest way or properly in general. So don't take this as a this is the way to do it. This is just works for me and I thought I would share it. If anyone has any tips on how to do things better or easier or quicker or whatever, please let me know. I am all ears and eager to learn more about this whole process. Anyways, there were some new files posted over on Cults 3D by Printescent. Again, they have become just like my favorite page to get unreleased or recreational pieces from, and so I thought I would share how I'm printing them today. This batch that I'm doing includes Michelle Mermaid's earrings, Darling's earrings, Dragon Games Darling's earrings, Way to Wonderland Raven's jewelry, and earrings for my I Heart Fashion Cleo. So, without further ado, let's get started. So I head on over to my computer. Welcome in, get comfortable. I use Lychee Slicer. I'm not totally sure if that's how you pronounce it. I think it is, I don't know. I only have a MacBook Air, so this loading up process does take a minute, so I've sped it up for you, but once it's up, then we can get started. Once it brings you to this page, then we can go into our downloads and select whichever item we have downloaded and want to print. Then you can just drag and drop that right into the software. For the purpose of demonstration, I am using Gingerbread House's bracelet from one of my previous videos. But once it's in and loaded, then you can sort of just go all around, look at it from every angle, admire its beauty, do whatever you want. You can drag it back and forth, up and down, side to side, whatever fits your purpose and needs. For a piece like this, I'm going to turn it right side up, as I have heard and learned that it's better to print items on top of itself rather than leaving it on its side like it was, creating a cavity or a space that would need to be filled with supports. This way we can just avoid that. And again, here I'm showing that you can really just place it wherever you want within the perimeters of your plate. That way you can squeeze in more to get the most out of your printing sessions. You can even make duplicates, which I show here, which I tend to do most of the time just in case something goes wrong with one of them during the print. I have a spare one that hopefully will also print perfectly. And once you get those all laid out, we could prepare them for print by adding supports. I tend to use the auto setting, which will automatically generate the needed supports for each item. This works out very nicely most of the time, but sometimes I will go in and whether it's delete supports or add supports in different places that I feel is needed, but that has just kind of come with testing and trying out different things and angles and just to see what works best in the end. Of course, that means failure sometimes, but what is learning without failure, you know? And here I'm just showing that you can click on and delete any supports you want and go back in and add them. You do have to keep in mind the angle, because certain angles will put supports in different places, so you just got to keep that in mind and play around with it. And once all of your items have supports added to them, we can always go back to the layout section and move things around if needed. I like to put mine close enough together so that they form one big base rather than individual little bases. This just makes it easier when removing it from the plate later. And once I'm happy with the layout, I go over to export. Then you do have to go over and select some settings over here, and honestly, I'm just choosing the ones that I've noticed work best for me. I don't know if these are actually the ones I should be using, but I've tried a couple different variations. Some have just not printed in general, or some have just not worked as well, but the ones I'm selecting here tend to work every time. It'll even tell you how long the prints will take right up here. But once all that's done, then I can actually export it. And I do like to rename these before saving so that they're easier to keep track of when transferring them over to the USB drive. Then once you click save, it'll do its thing. This process also does take a while, so I have sped this up times 10 just so you don't have to sit through the whole process with me. And once that's done, we can just open that in our folder and see the new saved document. So I'll plug in my USB drive, open that up, and drop the new document right in. And once that's done, then I'll head over and turn on my 3D printer, and then plug in my USB drive. Then we can go to our prints and scroll through all of our different selections and select the one that you want to print. And here is the one from our example, and then you would just start printing. Of course, I'm not going to do this one, but I am going to print the actual items that I'm here for. Before we start that though, I grab my resin. For this one I'm using white, and they recommend to shake it well, so I'll do just that. I'll go ahead and pop the cover off, and then raise up the plate if needed. This will make it easier to pour the resin in and to get those extra bubbles out. And then I'll just pour my resin right into the vat. And then I smack the sides around a little bit just to encourage those lower bubbles to rise up. Sometimes I'll also use a dowel to help mix it around, which works better. Then I take a lighter, which will help get rid of that top layer of bubbles. Then I'll put the cover back on and start printing. It'll show you the percentage of what's done, that way you can kind of keep track of how long it'll take. Once it's done, it'll look like this. And so now we can get a little sneak peek at our new prints. They recommend to wait until it stops dripping before you touch it, but honestly, sometimes I just get impatient and shake off the rest and go. Then I'll take the plate off and scrape off our new prints. I'm not gonna lie, this one was kind of stuck on there more than normal, so it took a minute to get off, but eventually I got it. Then I'll head over and turn on my wash and cure station, obviously set up for a wash right now, and drop our new prints in and let it go through the wash cycle. And then once that's done, we can go ahead and take it out. I like to kind of let it drip off the extra over top of the bin before letting it air dry. And now we wait. I do recommend letting it actually fully air dry, that way it'll cure properly. But look at all of our pretty prints, they came out so good. But this is an example right here of why I print doubles, because for some reason one of Cleo's earrings just didn't print? I don't know. If someone knows why this happens, please let me know. But before we take them off the supports, I like to cure that top layer first. Once that's done, I remove the cover, and then start popping off the items from their supports. As I'm doing this, I'm flipping them upside down and laying them back on the plate so that I could cure the other side. I know that you probably shouldn't be dealing with uncured resin with your bare hands, and I wouldn't recommend you do it, but honestly, I don't care. Anyways, you didn't hear that from me, so now I'm going to go ahead and cure that underneath side so that they'll be fully cured. And now they're officially done. And here's everything I printed in that batch. Here are both earrings for Darling, her basic, and her Dragon Games ones. And Michelle's, I also printed her a ring too. I forgot to mention it, but I also printed this missing accessory for my sugar-coated Maddie doll. And then here's Way to Wonderland Raven's jewelry. And last but not least, Cleo's earrings. Then I jump right into painting. I started with Michelle's because they were honestly the ones I was most excited about. I made my own earrings for my doll based off of the ones from the show, but of course they're not as good as these 3D printed ones, so the fact that I have ones that actually look more official, I think is just really cool. I do really hope someone eventually sculpts a headpiece to print for her too that looks like the one from the show, because mine's a little janky, and I mean, not that it's bad, but I would just prefer something a little bit more official and clean looking. But here's how those turned out, plus a picture of what they look like for reference. Next, I painted both pairs of Darling's earrings. This was another pair that I was also really excited for. I had just given my basic Darling an extra pair of Throne Coming Blondie's earrings because they were, pretty similar in shape and size, but to have official looking ones that actually look like the ones from the show, I love it. And here's how both those turned out, and again, some pictures for reference. Next, I painted Way to Wonderland Raven's accessories. The same feelings as the last one for this one. I'm very excited to have these ones since Raven was the playset doll, so she had a lack of details. I had just given her an extra pair of Kitty's accessories from the same line since they were in the same color, and they were a pretty good placeholder, but I'm even more excited to have the official looking ones now. And here's how those turned out, and again, a picture for comparison. In the show they're a little bit more green, but I went with the color on the doll's actual accessories. And last but not least, of course we have Cleo's earrings. I was able to get my hands on an I Heart Fashion Cleo not that long ago. She did come incomplete, so I'm trying to find or print some accessories for her, so here's how those earrings turned out. And after painting, here is how all of them look together. A gorgeous batch of accessories if I do say so myself. I'm very excited to have them all. Anyways, it's time for the reveal. Starting with Michelle, here's the before of my homemade earrings versus the new ones. I think they're so cute and look so much better. Can't forget about her ring. I think it's such a cute detail for her. And here's Darling's before and after. Okay, so not the biggest change, but I'm so much happier with them now. Here's Raven's before with no accessories versus with. I just love them. I'm so happy with them. Now I just need to reroute her someday. And of course Cleo, who's one step closer to being complete. I hope you guys enjoyed watching my process. If you guys have any questions or recommendations, please comment below. Buying a resin printer has been honestly one of the best creative decisions I've ever made. I know they're a bit pricey, but I highly recommend doing it if it's something you want. I've been thinking about it for years and I wish I did it sooner, but I'm very happy to have it now. Also, you might have noticed I didn't show off the other pair of Darling's earrings. And honestly, that's because I didn't feel like piercing the other doll's ears, but I plan on rerouting her someday, so I'll just do it whenever I do that. And another huge shout out and thank you to Printescent's ANYCUBIC 3D for these amazing sculpts. I can't wait to see what they do next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!